Our adventure begins here, in a quiet school storage room, where 4 students, Ava, Marcus, Jade, and Daniel, are about to uncover a secret older than the building itself.
What's this? It says, "We the people." Is this the Constitution?
I've heard of it, but I never thought we'd actually see something like this.
Looks ancient. Maybe it'll talk to us.
Or send us on a quest.
Congratulations, scholars, you have found the living Constitution. Together, we'll journey through time and space to discover how the US government came to be and how it works today. Ready? Where did the original idea of government come from? Influences stretch back through history, from religious texts like the Bible to ancient civilizations, and philosophers who debated how societies should be organized. All these ideas laid the groundwork for what would become our own government. In the US, power is divided between the national government and the state governments. This is called a federal system. After the Revolutionary War, the United States tried the Articles of Confederation, but they were weak. No power to tax, no way to enforce laws. It was clear something stronger was needed. In 1787, delegates met to craft a new government. Larger states loved the Virginia Plan because it based representation on population. Smaller states favored the New Jersey Plan because it gave each state equal representation, protecting smaller states from being overshadowed. The Great Compromise created a bicameral legislature, 2 houses. The House of Representatives with seats based on population, and the Senate with equal representation for each state. Another agreement was the 3/5 Compromise, which counted 3 out of every 5 enslaved people for both taxation and representation. After the Constitution was drafted, supporters of the new Constitution were called Federalists. Those who opposed it were Anti-Federalists. To win support, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison wrote the Federalist Papers, explaining why this new system was the best path forward. The introduction to the Constitution is known as the Preamble. The Constitution itself has 7 articles, and today it has 27 amendments. The Constitution set up a system called separation of powers, dividing the government into 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. The Senate approves treaties, or these branches check and balance each other. For example, the Senate approves treaties the President signs. Later, the Supreme Court would establish judicial review in Marbury v. Madison, 1803, ensuring laws follow the Constitution. To propose an amendment, a 2/3 vote is required in the House and Senate. To ratify that amendment, 3/4 of the state legislatures must agree. This process ensures only well-supported changes become part of the Constitution. Powers specifically stated in the Constitution are expressed powers. Implied powers come from the necessary and proper clause confirmed by the Supreme Court in McCulloch v. Maryland, 1819. The 10th Amendment reserves powers not given to the federal government to the states and the people. The legislative branch, the Congress, makes laws. It's bicameral, meaning it has two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House has 435 members and the Senate has 100 members. House members serve 2-year terms, senators serve 6-year terms. Representatives must be at least 25 years old and have been a citizen for at least 7 years. Senators must be at least 30 years old and a citizen for at least 9 years. Congress must approve all government spending. The House can impeach officials by a simple majority vote. The Senate tries impeachment cases and can remove someone from office with a 2/3 vote. Most of the work drafting bills happens in committees. The Vice President is the President of the Senate, and senators can use a filibuster, speaking endlessly to delay a vote. Overriding a presidential veto requires a 2/3 vote in both houses. The executive branch enforces laws. The President is Commander-in-Chief of the military and gives the State of the Union address once a year. To be President, you must be at least 35 years old, a natural-born citizen, and have lived in the US for at least 14 years. A president can serve 2 4-year terms. Presidents are elected by the Electoral College, needing at least 270 out of 538 electoral votes to win. If the president dies in office, the vice president takes over. If both the president and vice president can't serve, the Speaker of the House is next. The president also has the power of executive privilege, which can be used to withhold certain information. The judicial branch interprets laws. The president appoints Supreme Court justices, who then must be confirmed by the Senate. There are 9 justices on the Supreme Court. They interpret laws, ensure laws are constitutional, and guide how laws should be applied. The Supreme Court hears about 80 cases each year. The White House Chief of Staff oversees the White House staff and is a close advisor to the President. The President also leads the National Security Council, guiding policy on national defense and foreign affairs. The heads of the executive departments form the Cabinet. Civilians who work for the federal government are federal civil servants. In the past, presidents gave out jobs as rewards in what was called the spoils system. The Pendleton Act ended that, creating a merit-based civil service commission. Today, the federal government employs about 2.7 million people. The largest executive department is the Department of Defense. The 16th Amendment established an income tax, providing funds for the government's work.
We learned so much, from ancient origins to the Constitution, from the powers of each branch to how laws are made and changed.
Now I understand Federalist, Anti-Federalist, the Electoral College, everything.
I can't wait to show off this knowledge.
The midterm will be a breeze.
Remember, knowledge of your government gives you the power to shape the future. Use it wisely.